warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ATASHA binti ISMAIL alias FADLI.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Juliyana binti MUHAMAD.
Hi, my name is NAJWA.
My name is NURSYAKIRAH binti SHAMSUDIN.
Hi, my name is AMANI binti SAMSOL BAHRI.
My name is Juliyana binti ROSHAILI from AM 1104B.
On 8 August 1967, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) was formed and was founded from the Bangkok Declaration. It was established due to ASA and Mappilindo failed further. So, the goal of the establishment of ASEAN is to maintain the political stability of Southeast Asia. It is also to help, among others, which is in the economy, social, and culture fields. It is also to assist in areas such as economy, social welfare, and culture. Furthermore, the Bangkok Declaration of 8 August 1967, ASEAN Vision 2020, the ASEAN conquered 2 declaration, Bali conquered 2, and the Declaration 2007 is for the formation of the ASEAN Community 2015.
Okay, political security community is one of the 3 pillars to strengthening the ASEAN capacity to respond to the regional and international issue. ASEAN Political Security Community (APSC) blueprint was established over 7 years from 2019 to 2015. It is to strengthening and expanding its cooperation, focusing on the field of political and security. The first APSC blueprint was introduced as a route plan and the timeline for the APSC from 2019 to 2015. At 13th ASEAN Summit in Singapore, ministers and officials of the region must begin drafting an APSC blueprint, which will be dissolved by the 14th ASEAN Summit, and the blueprint of APSC is governed by the ASEAN Charter. Objective of the APSC: firstly, ensure that the people and member states of ASEAN live in peace. It seeks to resolve conflict peacefully and renounce aggressiveness and the threat or use of force and other activities which have no effect on the law of the world. Second objective is to promote political development in adherence to the principle of democracy and good governance. ASEAN Political Security Community Blueprint include a number of special measures for the promotion and protection of human rights by ASEAN member nations. Third objective is strengthening the mutual beneficial relation between ASEAN and dialogue partners. It is the establishment of an equitable, democratic, and harmonious environment to improve the political stability, democracy, and good governance that can give the benefit to all countries in the regional.
The strategy of political security community is a piece that has served as a foundation for policy. It is the interaction between nations through documents such as the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast ASEAN and ASEAN Charter. The action of member countries in the South China Sea highlights the realities of conflict between issues of interest cooperation. ASEAN member states released a unified statement with strong words in South China Sea as part of a wider region to implement the deal with China and other certain ASEAN members. Second is to increase the effectiveness of confidence-building initiative, urgent territorial exchange among ASEAN defense and military officers, including staff, college, military, academics, and national defense. ASEAN states can increase the exchange of military training officers tailored to each ASEAN state's capabilities. At the same time, ASEAN members exchange information to encourage exchange and cooperation among military defense officials in visits military training institutes to improve mutual trust and understanding. Third, strengthen efforts to maintain ASEAN member state territorial integrity, sovereignty, and unity. It is stated in the Declaration of Principles of International Law of Friendly Relations and Cooperation which among states. It develops relevant international in order to enhance understanding and appreciation of the finest practice of friendly relations and cooperation. And then to holding decisions, it may improve the reaction to threats and challenges that may threaten ASEAN region's integrity. For implementation, it is to effectively implement the Political Security Community Plan. Member states have to join the program and development plan activities to be incorporated into their individual national plans. The execution of different aspects, commitment, and activities contained in the development plan varies throughout all ASEAN levels, official entities, or any related organization. For instance, it is reflected in mobilizing resources, presenting courses to relevant ministerial institutions, and national effort to achieve the objective. Not by implementing resource mobilization, the development plan requires financial resources raised by ASEAN member states as well as from different institutions such as ASEAN Development Fund, dialogue partners, international agencies, and non-governmental organizations. Furthermore, the communication strategy will be prepared and deployed at the national and regional level. This will not only increase public knowledge of ASEAN political security community various projects, but also include all stakeholders in the process.
There are a few challenges for the APSC. Firstly, because of South China Sea. This is because South China Sea covers about 1.16 million square miles, and majority of the members from the region is surrounded the South China Sea. The issue is when many countries are trying to get areas in the South China Sea to strengthen their position, so this pose is difficult if each country does not agree with one another's decision. Second challenge is the country of China. This is because China is a country with great influence, and most of the change that take place in the country will affect the countries in the ASEAN region. In addition, mostly countries in the region was really on the China economy. Next challenges is about human rights. It because the failure of a country to resolve human rights issues such as the Rohingya crisis will extend affect the implementation of the ASEAN Political Security Community as it is faced with this unsolvable problem. Example, we can see the crisis of human rights to the Rohingya people since the AICHR was established in 2019. The members in the region were the important rules to countless breach of human rights. But we can see until now the crisis of Rohingya people was not done yet.
So I will explain about ASEAN Economic Community. The ASEAN Economic Community, AEC, is the most significant pillar, and it is required for the other two pillars, the Political Security Community and the Social Cultural Community. The ASEAN Economic Community was formed on November 20, 2007 in Singapore with the purpose of developing a flexible economic standard that will allow the ASEAN economy to become more competitive and robust. The ASEAN Economic Community is also considered as playing a role in bridging the economic divide between its members. So the first objective is to assist global economic growth. As one of the major economic powers, ASEAN will play a role in ensuring that economic growth is in line with and balanced with the local economic climate of ASEAN countries. As a result of the ASEAN Economic Community, all tariffs on trade services will be reduced or removed. Not only that, additional opportunities for commerce in the form of goods, services, and human capital will emerge, and services will become more self-sufficient. In addition, unite to face international economic challenges by creating ASEAN industrial projects. ASEAN has successfully established cooperation among countries. For example, the Copper Industry Project in the Philippines, the Diesel Fabric Project in Singapore, and the Super Fabric Project in Thailand. In the face of globalization, in 1992, ASEAN created the ASEAN Free Trade Area, which is AFTA. Last but not least is to attract foreign investment and commerce to the ASEAN region. ACIA, which is ASEAN Comprehensive Investment Agreement, was also formed to aid in the integration of local business into the regional economy, both directly and indirectly through strategic collaboration with foreign investors.
Right now, we move to strategy or four pillars for ASEAN Economic Community. First, single market and production base. So, it has free flow of goods, free flow of service, free flow of investment capital, free flow of skilled labor and food, agriculture and forestry. Second, highly competitive economy region. The ASEAN Economic Community set the legal framework and structure with respect to competition, consumer protection, taxation, e-commerce, and intellectual property. This is due to contribute to the improvement of the business environment in ASEAN member states. Alright, next strategy we can see on AEC is integration into the global economy. It is to open an integrated market to the citizens of ASEAN member states. Then, ASEAN economic integration involves not only external integration, but also integration in the global economy, which that a market will be wider and be able to boost the economy. So, for future-oriented free trade, comprehensive and systematic economic partnership agreement, and the last strategy we can see is region of equitable economic development. The first is to speed up the development of small medium enterprise, which is to optimize the diversity of ASEAN member states, which can have a positive impact. For example, to increase the competitiveness of ASEAN small medium enterprise, which is to facilitate their access, and then have the initiative for ASEAN integration. Now we move to the next part, which is implementation ASEAN economic community. First, creating a business that provides a highly value achievement. AEC can create an environment for the same old and new ASEAN business, large and small, to grow, expand their markets can be further expanded. And then, ASEAN Economic Committee will open up more individuals for them to expand markets and increase their business. Second, implementation is scorecards on progress of ASEAN Economic Community. AEC scorecard report on the implementation progress of the AEC. This is to identify the implementation gaps and also the challenges in AEC. Then to follow up on the implementation of the AEC. It is very important to ensure that every method is always updated and well controlled by the ASEAN member state to achieve all the set objectives that provide various benefits to countries. So the implementation AEC is financial integration is a key catalyst for the development of the financial sector. It is increased efficiency and also can reduce the cost of capital production. Furthermore, financial integration for ASEAN aims to achieve a well-functioning financial system in the region. It is to further facilitate regional business and investment. This includes more liberal financial service, capital account system, and capital markets. And the last implementation for ASEAN Economic Community is ASEAN Economic Integration Measures. It is the market is quite open and more integrated that has a larger selection of products at competitive cost. So the market will be wide and can improve the country economy, and also the income will increase. AEC creates a legal framework and structure on competition, protecting consumers and intellectual property, and better transport network and infrastructure that can have a more effective impact. Next part is issue or challenges for ASEAN Economic Community. First, not an effective and well-functioning mechanism to monitor the progress of the AEC. For example, a free flow of goods. It is to eliminate tariff and non-tariff barrier. Then, the ASEAN Free Trade Area (AFTA) plays a role in the success of this element and increased transparency, including respecting the protocol on the notification process and establishing effective oversight mechanism. Second issue is the current situation of incomplete implementation of the AEC or region. We can see that it's social and economic competition. This is because some support liberalization, such as multinational corporation and NC that do business in the region abroad. So the economic structure and various needs, for example, to improve in facilities and infrastructure. Last issue or challenges we can see in AEC is monitoring the progress of the ASEAN Economic Community should be strengthened. It is to further strengthen their capability in monitoring the ASEAN Secretary. It is also technician assistance to the ASEAN member state must be improved so that the implementation is successful and more efficient and effective. Also, we can see the feedback sector should be large and strong. This is due to conducting assessments on the effectiveness of policy and measure implemented.
Okay, so in my part that I want to present is about the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community or ASCC. So there are 5 elements under the ASCC. So the first one is starting from the overview of ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. There is refer on the unwavering commitment to improve the quality of life of its community through the cooperative activities that are people-oriented, people-centered, environmentally friendly, and also to focus on promoting sustainable development on these countries. The ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community or ACC is referred to the aspect of culture and information, education, youth and sport, health, social well-being and the development of the countries. Okay, so second is about the objective of the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. Okay, so there are 3 of objective. The first one is to focus on promoting a high quality of life, the fair access to opportunities for all, and promoting and protecting the human right. Second is about to produce a resilient community with the increased capacity and capability to adapt and respond to social and economic growth. The third one is to create a dynamic of harmonious society that is aware and proud of its identity, culture and heritage. Okay, so the third is about strategy of the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. So under this, there are 3 of strategies. The first one is the cooperative between ASEAN countries in the field of education is monitored at the ministerial level of ASEAN Education Minister meeting. The second is collaborate with the Health ASEAN to implement the ASEAN Post 2015 Health Development Agenda or APHDA. And the last one is enhancing human resource capabilities, documentation standard and benchmark for the quality service, partnership and collaboration between the sectors.
Next is the implementations of the ASCC. The first one is education. Education sector corporations in the Southeast Asia region began the establishments of the organization Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organizations. The framework of the ASEAN, which is to declare the strengthening of the cooperations in the education through the Hua Hin declarations, strengthening cooperations on the education to achieve ASEAN Caring and Sharing Community at the 15th ASEAN Summit in Hua Hin, Thailand. This is to improve the quality of the human resources so that they have competitiveness both at the regional and global levels, as stated in the ASEAN 5 years work plan on the educations. Next one is the ASEAN Health Ministers meeting, which is Health Minister Forum that aims to enhance ASEAN cooperations in the health sectors. This was formed in 1980, hold its meeting every 2 years, and while the senior official meetings on health is held every year. There are 54 action plans for activities in ASEAN health cooperation sectors, which is divided into 3 main elements, which is the food safety, promotions, health, lifestyles, and communicable disease. The last one is rural development and poverty reductions. ASEAN cooperation in the fields of the rural development and poverty reduction is based on the ministerial understanding on the rural development and poverty eradications. This is referred to declarations of the ASEAN Concord, which is in Bali, Concord 1 in 1976. This is concern for the problem of the poverty elevations, hunger, illness, and illiteracy. Now is the issues and the challenges to implement ASCC. The first one is the failure to set up sub-team or subgroup outcomes and targets. The degree of reductions in the incidence of the communicable disease and not just output targets is the one of the factors of the failure. This is because the setting of the outcomes and targets raises the bar of the expectations on the measures and actions, which is whether the actions have been implemented or not. The results of the correlative issues of budget, organizations, coordinations, and quality of personnel, the lack of emphasis on the outcomes and targets in the ASCC blueprints have meant that the performance of the implementation of blueprints could not be evaluated. The second one is the apparent lack of prioritizations among the initiative in the ASCC blueprints. The issues of budget and equality of the personnel, lack of unifying framework with the clear outcomes and targets bring out the second failing. This is because blueprints does not emphasize concerted national efforts that complement the regional initiative. The last one is to reframe the measures and actions in terms of the outcomes and targets, not just outputs, which help
shape the unifying frameworks, the clearer understanding of the nature and degree of the linkages of initiative within the ARCC and those from the AEC and the APSC focus on the critical regional and national initiative to have more impact given limited budgets and allows for more rigorous monitoring and evaluations impact given limited budgets and allows for more rigorous monitoring and evaluations of the effectiveness of the ARCC blueprints measures.
As a conclusion, people must feel the benefit of ASEAN in their daily life. It is because through the objective of ASEAN to be a community of action and able to act efficiency and in a timely manner to address both internal and external threat, violation of human rights and fundamental freedom, and meet the challenge of its member state and the people. Therefore, the ASEAN community should become a community of people where all the people of the region have equitable access to human development opportunity, justice, and participation in the governance of the country.